Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Educational Gamer and we are playing Strategic Command. We are playing as the Allies in war against the Axis. It is early 1942. We did last time use our turn, so let's turn it over to the Axis. Time is going to advance by 2 weeks over here. After a couple of messages. So, here's a message for the UK. We could improve the safety of our convoy routes by increasing the strength of our coastal command through deploying a unit of maritime bombers at Reykjavik in Iceland. With a base there, coastal command should be able to make a significant step towards closing the mid-Atlantic gap, providing air cover over a larger area of the ocean to assist us in the Battle of the Atlantic. Deploying a bomber unit there would cost us 100 MPP. Would we want to do that? So, at Reykjavik over here, that would allow us to basically bomb this area. Not so much, I think what is historically referred to as the Mid-Atlantic Gap, this area over here, and that doesn't really cover it. So, do we want that? To be honest, I'm a little bit torn because I think we have destroyed quite a bit of the capabilities of the Germans. We do have 2 maritime bombers over here. We have just redeployed one over here towards Malaysia. And I do not necessarily think that we do need another one. Although, of course, we could relatively flexibly move it over to East Asia and maybe attack some of the Japanese fleet over here, the Japanese Imperial Fleet. And that is clustered around here and, of course, at Pearl Harbor. Any additional notes? Likely U-boat locations. It would be best to research and upgrade this unit. Yes, of course that would be true. This unit is in Icelandic service and can operate it for use elsewhere. So, okay, so no, I don't think it's worth 100 points to spend that. So let's not do that. Germany constructing some defenses on the Atlantic Wall. Not sure what the exact result of that is. India entering some more civil disobedience, advanced fighters progress for the US, and naval weaponry. That is important for the US as well. Collecting our money looks good. US is always building up more and more, so that I very much appreciate. Since in particular, of course, the Eastern Front from the German perspective is still the most important in this war. So, handing it over to the Axis, I should not expect too much happening in middle of January in Europe, but of course over here in Southeast Asia things are going to be much more complicated because German submarine moving towards Brest, German submarine over in the North Sea towards Skagerrak. So over here there shouldn't be too much, I guess. The winter should be freezing in the front, I believe, to some degree at least. Yeah, you can see them reinforcing quite a bit. Ah, they did manage to find our submarines. This heavy cruiser is a little bit doomed. Come on, just flee. Just dive away. Yeah, we are gonna lose this battleship as well. Yeah, they are following their strikes so dramatically over here. What a bad luck that is. I guess what we could have done is build up an AA battery over here at some point. Why did they find us down here? Was it because we were so close to their base? Some destroyers, the heavy cruiser. Heavy cruiser is very lucky to be alive for now. Interesting that the Japanese would go there. Oh! Germans are actually attacking the Kaunas division over here, and they core. They are very successful in doing that. But they didn't quite break it. Also these heavy tanks coming under attack. More attacks down here in the south with these core that we just moved in, so I think it's not really reinforced yet. These paratroopers are hell for us. They are so experienced and so strong. Some attack down here on the special forces. They really like to go for the special forces. I'm not entirely sure why. That was an obvious loss. Over here in the Philippines. Yeah, but that seems to be okay. Where did you attack? Probably over here in his army. Ha! Huh. You're just feeding experience to us. The little white dots over there are experience. Okay, East Africa, you are trying to break out, which I appreciate. Ooh. Attacked by tanks on us. Italian units moving around. Ooh, you're attacking Hong Kong. Well, I could have seen that coming, to be honest. And repositioned our forces a little bit more. Of course, it's a stupid move by the AI, because mainland China has been pretty much liberated by our Chinese forces. But it still does make sense that the AI would be programmed to take Hong Kong. Sorry about all the noise. The Germans are apparently rearranging their forces up there. Quite a couple of Japanese forces are now withdrawing. That is good. They did enough damage as is. So long term for the Axis over here, but I think they should soon stop and hand it over to us again. Additional losses over there, that's very nice to see. Chinese morale suffers from the loss of Hong Kong. Hong Kong surrenders. Japan gets some points, but I do think we'll be able to get over there. Invade the island of Borneo. Brunei surrenders. Really? How? And what will happen to that fighter division? Are they getting free forces over there? And additional supply convoys? Okay, that needs to stop. We really need to push back the Japanese. I was underestimating them a little bit, I have to say, after we pushed them out with the Japanese. Some intel that we're getting. Oh, medium bombers down there. Interesting. Yeah, and just some fleets there and there. This is interesting because it seems a little bit isolated. Garrison over there. And we do get another note over here. Our commando units are full of volunteers from all the services eager to fight. They're also men from many other countries who've joined up, including Poles, French, Czech people, Belgians, Dutch, Norwegians, and even some Germans. If our commanders are to commence operations, then they will need some funding for equipment and a proper training camp in the Scottish Highlands. Would we like to do that? What would be the result? Raids will start taking place. Also attack. Yes. You know what? Commandos are cool, so yes, we are going to do that. And spend some forces on that. Good. So it is our turn. Let's have a look at the German front over here. For the Soviets, so this corps over here has been badly mauled. We do need to reinforce that. But it does look like we can do that pretty well. And you know what? Actually, I would like to detach this and attach that. So these 6 units. Oh, we do have command and control level, I think. Do we need the AA gun though? So let's move you. I mean, Riga is nice. That does give you a lot of supply. Could also move you over here, I guess. But you know what? I think that's fine like it is. You have these 5 guys. And how about you? You have these. I don't think the garrison is needed. I would rather have you attach all of these frontline units. And over here. Well, some of these paratroopers are not the worst to have. Let's detach the bombers and attach this army over here. Then between these guys, well, these heavy tanks should also be part of an army unit. Okay, so that's fine. We should reinforce these heavy tanks. Do we want to move them out though? We should also check on whether we can do any good attacks over here. Germans would lose a little bit over there, so I think that's fine. Yeah, let's attack over here. And of course we lose as well. Nevertheless, still a decent attack. Yeah, these paratroopers just so experienced right now. But I think soon they might start to feel some of the losses. Every time it tells us we will not be suffering any losses, we do. Okay, nevertheless, these tanks. I think I like you over here, so let's reinforce you and hope that you will get some readiness and some morale. And that should be fine. These engineers are digging in. Over here on the southern part of the front, we do have some Germans kicking up over here and some of these items down here. Let's reinforce the guys who suffered a little bit in the latest rounds of attack, but all in all, everyone seems to be happy over here. Can we do any meaningful attacks? Probably on the, yeah, I was thinking about that, probably on the Allied troops. You are not fully entrenched. Yeah, still let's attack these Romanians. That was a successful attack. Let's follow that up a little bit. Yeah, very good going actually. And then over here we do have our tanks that have been mauled. And your morale is really low, so I guess we should bring you back. How about these mechanized forces? We could move you up. We could even attack these guys, potentially shatter them. Might be helpful. We also have some more mechanized forces over here, but you know what? Let's reinforce these guys as bringing back our tanks. And then we should be okay. You know what? We'll move you down here. Tanks back to Kiev itself, and then we'll reinforce that next time. And that should about cover it over here. I think we'd rather reinforce you to the max. And this cavalry division over here, we will try to get you to better supply. Over here should be fine. Right, okay, so everyone else here is fine and happy, except for these engineers, but they are of a minor priority. Yeah, let's attack these bombers, as always. Yeah, I didn't do too much damage this time around. You could attack, there's no point really doing that. I would like to circle out these light tanks. Bring them up over here and move in this core instead. And it should be fine. And these guys can put down here so that they can support this area, because there are a lot of attacks happening here. But this time we have all of our mobile forces, so 2 mechanized groups, a tank unit, and the light tanks all concentrated over here and potentially ready to push out over here and cause some real hurt for the Germans. Good, other than that though, I think we are fine over here on this front. Everything has been reinforced that needs to be reinforced, so that I appreciate very, very much. We did get some new units as the USSR. We do have another tank group, which I'm guessing we should be placing down here then as well, so that we can really drive home that point. Could also try to do some minor encirclements or some minor pushbacks over here. Slightly concerned about the position up there. Yeah, but you know what, let's bring the tanks down here so that they are one coherent army. And then we have this core. I think the situation up here does involve 2 cores, an army. It's looking alright, but not too aggressively so. But I would like an army down here because there is a lot of fighting. Could place another core over here, but that's not necessarily required, so let's make sure we are guarding our backlines over there a little bit, and the army itself will be deployed to Kherson, and that should be it. So that does mean the Soviets do have some points remaining. What do we want to do with these? Could actually bomb these guys. Let's do that. Then bring them to port. We could purchase some units with the Soviets, and that might not be the worst idea. We should definitely have some armies and all of that left that has been destroyed, and that we could replace. Cavalries. No, yeah, all of that is good. We don't have any tanks, so actually the most sensible thing might be more armies still. It's not that expensive to do this, so let's do it. 45 points, not the world, but still I think we'll be fine. Good. That does leave it for the Soviets. Let's have a look at the North Sea with the Germans over here. So we do know about these submarines over here, and I think we saw a submarine coming down here. So let's see what we can bring to bear on these submarines. Firstly, bring up a destroyer. Reduce their strength. Luckily they didn't dive away. And they are upgraded, so another attack over here. Very good. Let's bring these guys back. Bring in another group of destroyers. They are diving away. They are now back over there, so we need to bring out our submarines over here. These destroyer groups, all acted, can move out. That sort of does it though for our for our destroyers. Let's do an attack with our naval bombers. That went fairly well. Let's do another one. Yes! There we go. Nice, did sink that submarine, so that is very good. We can reinforce our destroyers over here. Should reinforce these guys over here. Yeah, that'll take another turn actually. But that's fine. And dandy, so we did manage to destroy another German submarine over there then. Let's have a look down here. Do we find anyone sort of in this area towards Brest? No one here. These destroyers I would actually like to bring home. There we go. There's the submarine. We did see it dive away in that direction, so it was sort of expected that it is over here. Nice. Very good. Let's get the Canadians to do the honors. Yes, very good. Well, we did take some damage in return, but all in all that should mean that the Germans are suffering from fewer and fewer troops. I think there should be one submarine. We last time did find a submarine on these lines. There we go. Well, we can attack though. Probably doesn't do too much for us. And I kind of doubt that we have enough stuff to send over there. We can send up these destroyers. But some of these guys really need some training or upgrades. For example, these destroyers don't even have the anti-submarine warfare upgrade, which they definitely need. Battleships need to be reinforced. This battleship is fine. And do think that we have diminished the German forces to a very high degree. So I think if we kept 2 battleships over here, that would be actually plenty. So I think what we can do with these guys is bring them over towards Asia. And I think that will be okay. Good. So let's see what else we need to do over here then. These carriers, we can upgrade them over here. But you know what? We might actually send them to Asia as well. Towards the Pacific. And that should be the UK's contribution over there. That does leave plenty of forces over here, so we have 1, 2 battleships, 1, 2 carriers, 2 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers, 4 destroyers, and a submarine. Yeah, I think that's more than enough for the UK in this territory. So it is raining in Scotland quite a bit, I notice, and there's very little we can be doing with these bombers over here. It seems to be raining more or less all of the time, so nevertheless let's move them up over there a little bit so that they are covering that area. Right, then I'm guessing these light cruisers could get an upgrade on anti-submarine warfare, on naval weaponry. Might be a little bit too expensive for now. Lots of forces mustering over here in the UK, but not necessarily to the point that we can use them entirely. You need to be reinforced. We'll send you simply towards that area over there, because we know of that German submarine somewhere around that area, so I think that should be fine. And then what we can do is get our US destroyers back home. For now they are mainly good at spotting, because they haven't really gotten the anti-submarine warfare upgrades. So I think that is alright. Lots of upgrades still missing over here. But the UK is starting to feel the pinch economically, I think. Yeah, okay. That we can deal with in a second then. We do have these submarines that are traveling. Let's send them to the supply situation in Gibraltar. Those leave the situation to be considered in North Africa. Why is so horribly bad? Because these guys are so much more ready than we are. Does that make any sense though? Where are our bombers? Over here. You know, bombers are really bad. Yeah, your readiness and morale is really low. Could do some strafing runs with our fighters, but there's no point I think doing this really, so you actually need to be upgraded as well. Do have some tanks. Well, this is an anti-tank gun, so the carriers could do some attacks. The artillery could launch attacks. They're not even entrenched, and they're still so good. Well, could bring in our battle cruiser, do some naval bombardment. But this is a town, so it's not exactly efficient to do that. Why do we have so little information on this attack? Okay, now we do. You couldn't launch an attack. You could. And you could. What is your mode? You're naval tactical? That's fine. I think you were on mixed. Let's put you on naval tactical, so that we have more strikes. You're not doing too much damage anywhere over here, which is a bit of a pity. We do really need this area over here so that we can continue a drive back of these guys. Should be someone in here. Yeah, an army actually. Okay, let's conduct a strike on the headquarter unit over here. Come over here. We know that there's probably only a German and an Italian submarine. Okay, bring up these guys. Start hitting that town and the other guys. Battleship. Hit these guys. There we go. Oh well. Did suffer some losses in turn. Don't want to move out all of these guys. Battle cruisers. How's the supply situation looking like? 6, 5, 6. Horrible. Okay, let's do artillery strikes. Just soften them up a little bit, I think. I think it will be some time before we are actually capable of taking them on, so let's reinforce what we can. Your supply situation, 6 over there. 7 over here, 6 over here. So bad. Well, at least the special forces are doing okay. Let's bring you over here. You could be upgraded with what? Anti-air defenses? We don't need that. At least not over here. Let's bring in our heavy cruisers towards Malta, because I think they are reducing the effectiveness of the Italians over here. Oh, there's a German submarine. Let's damage it. And now I wish I could strike with these guys, but I can't. That heavy cruiser could be upgraded to at least better naval weaponry. It's not that expensive, so let's do it. And then this aircraft carriers. I could reinforce you, but I think I would rather upgrade you to advanced fighters. What does it do? Yeah, increasing our capabilities all around. I think that's a fine thing. This army here in Suez can move up. Your morale is not that high anyway. Let's move up to East Africa, where we've surrounded these guys. Everything here is looking much better than it used to, so I'm very happy about that. Let's start out with the garrison. 50 national morale boost, that is not to be sniffed at. And then we can move up, start reducing that headquarter unit. How are you looking? You're looking very bad now. Yeah, your supply situation just collapsed. There we go. Addis Ababa is now close to being ours. And these guys are simply being more or less being annihilated now. And there we go. So finally East Africa is ours. Except for that one spot. Okay, so that does mean our guys can travel back towards the coast. I guess we can park these Italians close to Djibouti. We have some tactical bombers, some artillery pieces over here. Make sure everyone is getting as close to our supply lines as possible. Yeah, that's fine. These tactical bombers then. I think it might make sense to move them up over there. But before we do that, let's do the upgrade for the long-range aircraft, which we somehow never got around to do because they were so busy bombing down here. But that's fine. Good. So we have some minutes left, so let's take a brief look at China. Over here, the Japanese, of course, landed at Hong Kong. Let's move up some troops to counter that. We do have this army. We do have a corps over here, 2 corps. Let's move you in quickly. Push back immediately against their attack. Well, we could do a fighter attack, but let's actually move you guys back a little bit. I would like to get an army down here. So, actually should be these guys. You can't attack across that strait, but let's get you down here in the midterm. And that should be fine. In Vietnam, we can take the old capital. Should be able to move into Luang Prabang. Connect that all up. That is good as well. The army over here we'll ferry forward a little bit. These fighters don't really spot anything for now. Let's move them into UA. And that's fine. Speaking of this area, let's move up our forces over here. Why can't you not move into Malaya? Let's see whether that is possible next time. Okay, this battleship, can you reinforce? Oh, you can. Yeah, that's nice, let's do it. I definitely want them to be full strength once we do get down there. And you're following these guys as well. National morale objective over there, all of that is fine. Over here in northern China, in Manchuria, these guys should be fairly low on supplies. Good morale boost over there. Capturing more territory, that's fine. And over here, we're slowly but surely making our way over here. Connecting up all of these areas. Okay, let's attack just to reduce the entrenchment. We should come over with one of our headquarter units to give them some more supplies. Everything else for China I think is fine. We don't really need to shuffle these troops around. Maybe I'll do that off screen, but it should be fine. Good, so we did deal with all of that, all of this. So that does leave us to deal with the Japanese incursions down here. I realize it is pretty late in the stream, but I think we would like to start at least a couple of things over here. So definitely reinforce these submarines, and then we do have these naval bombers. There's a battleship, which I do think is a juicy target. Yeah, let's strike the battleships. Or the heavy cruisers? No, battleships it is. Dealing some damage though, so that I think is fine. The light cruiser might be upgraded. Better naval weaponry. It's not that expensive. And it is in the front lines. Submarines can't move out yet. Oh, speaking of submarines, didn't we have one of it? Yeah, no, that's fine. Other than that, we do have a heavy cruiser over here. Let's bring that into the port. I don't want to sally out towards the battleship with a heavy cruiser. This heavy cruiser. Bringing it into base over here. You guys cannot be upgraded with further infantry weapons. But you can you are threatened in sort of both directions though. Have to be careful about these guys. Do have some fighters over here. Could move further inland. Can I operate your way? No. Yeah, so all of this is... Let's bring it over here. Although I'm afraid that these guys will attack. Light cruisers need to be reinforced. Light cruisers need to be brought to base so that you can upgrade it a little. We don't have any base over here. You guys need to go to Perth because you'll need to be repaired. You guys are also tracking up here. And that is fine. Okay. Nevertheless, since there is the American move left, I think I will put in a cut in here. So, thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time.